So this is a subject that I made a video on, and then it got deleted or lost in transit between my camera and being uploaded onto my computer and then onto the internet. So I'm going to recreate it. And it was an insight that occurred to me about what we call introverts, how we describe it. I remember reading an article in some psychology blog describing, 20 attributes of an introvert, including requiring a lot of downtime after social events, finding it draining to spend time around people, needing a lot of me time, space, quiet, etc. And so I identified, oh yes, I must be introverted. Then I learned about codependency and co-empowerment, and how codependency, for the purposes of this, is defined as any time we give a person, place, thing, or circumstance power over how we feel. So when we make it about someone else needing to do something in order for us to feel a certain way, or some circumstance needing to change before we'll feel a certain way. All of that is codependence, and all of that is transformable into co-empowerment, where we are empowered and our world is empowered. We're not exerting power over others, or control, or domination over these things. We are claiming our own power and allowing others in our environment to have their own power. And in that, we're defining a boundary between what we create for ourselves and what we allow others to also have the power to create for themselves. So new concepts all around. If you're anything like me, the first time I learned about boundaries was revolutionary, because I didn't realize I could set a boundary. I didn't realize that I was a sovereign individual within my world. I took on the world as my responsibility. So I oriented myself to arranging everything in my world to be according to how my mind believed it needed to be. So standards of perfection that I had somehow adopted from somewhere, whatever it was that seemed to be idealized by someone else, I took on and made everything in my world that way, without checking in with myself. So here's my question. Are you really an introvert, or are you simply unaware of your codependency and your lack of skill or knowledge in setting boundaries? And what I noticed, what really triggered this for me, was I spent 5 days in an intensive training environment, 8 hours a day, with just 10-minute breaks every hour to run to the bathroom, but with eating every meal together and being around people and sleeping in a dorm and sharing bathrooms, about 18 people. And I felt so energized, and I was around people all the time. I'd never experienced that before. And so it really challenged the notion that if I am an introvert, if that's an identity, and that I require all these things that the list says, how could it be that I was in this environment, violating all 20 of those rules, and not feeling that same drain that I usually feel when I'm around people? And since I was also waking up to learning about codependence and co-empowerment, I realized maybe I'm drained by my own codependency on the environment to provide something for me. Maybe I'm drained by my poor boundaries and being around people that have poor boundaries and are wanting to, either invade my space, draw from my energy, or have me agree with them in their belief systems. And me, since I want to please rather than take the risk of waking someone up, play into the belief system sometimes as a default in social situations just because it's easier. So I just woke up to, wow, this is a new discovery that this identity as an introvert may be totally invalid, and maybe I simply require myself to wake up to my own boundaries and to notice when I am being codependent on others to create an experience for me, and to have the power to say, I choose to exit this environment. If I'm unable to express and stay in my power, I also have the choice to leave environments. That's okay. I'm not a victim of being in any place. As long as I have 2 feet and a heartbeat, I can walk out of a room. And as long as I have this ability to choose, I can choose what I say, what I answer, what I engage in as a conversation, and that's within my power. So any notion of politeness or what I should be doing in a social situation or a relationship is a belief that I've chosen, and anytime I act on it without having alignment with my true desire, I'm being codependent. Now that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just noticing that it's not an identity. It's not something about me that I require because I have this label of introvert. It's a state of consciousness where I am at that point, and it's an indication of what choices I'm willing to make at that time in my life. And it's not so the freedom comes from, this is not, I don't have to arrange my world to accommodate the identity of introvert anymore. I don't need to kind of distance myself from people in general. I need to cultivate my own empowerment as an individual and my own boundaries as an individual. And I can enjoy people from that place of empowerment and boundaries 24/7 without any problem. And I know that from experience now, and I'm grateful for that awakening. So I'm offering it here for all of you who have ever taken that introvert quiz and are wearing that label on your shoulder to have another possibility. And if you want to learn more about codependence, co-empowerment, boundaries, I teach about it all day long in my online courses and my blog and in my various offerings. So come on over.